Welcome to Rooted Realities, where honest talk meets soulful insight. This podcast will guide you through life's ups and downs, offering clarity, courage, and a gentle reminder to give yourself grace. I'm your host, Christmas Miller, holistic health practitioner, life coach, and spiritual mentor. With each episode, I'll blend ancient wisdom with modern insight to inspire you to stay accountable and empowered. So if you're ready to grow from the inside out, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hi, everyone. Christmas here, and thank you for tuning in. Today, let's talk about the myth of moving on. And I'm talking about the widely held beliefs about it that keeps us stuck. Like, you should be over it by now, or time fixes everything, or you'll feel better once you leave. Just move forward and don't look back. Now, I'm sure many of you listening have heard some of those phrases. Maybe you're familiar with them, and maybe even a part of you believed that at some point they were true. But what if they're not entirely true or as easy as it sounds? For example, let's say you finally listened to that inner voice, but you only did it because ignoring it was no longer an option. Or you kept trying to move forward, but life just kept on throwing roadblock after roadblock, making it hard to even do that, move forward. Either way, you gave yourself permission and you took action. And honestly, following something that takes you outside of your comfort zone might feel utterly frightening because there's no guarantee it'll be the right thing for you. And listen, doing that, it ain't easy as everybody makes it sound. That takes courage, trust, and clarity, or at least enough of them to take the next step. But here's what's not talked about. Even when we follow our truth, even when we actually do the brave thing, there's often a quiet ache that still shows up. Oh, yes, and it's real, visceral, not regret exactly, maybe a little fear mixed in there, but more like a strange grief. That sense of loss for the comfort of the familiar, even if it wasn't working for you. It's an emotional weight that you didn't expect, but it often still shows up. You might even catch yourself thinking, wasn't this supposed to feel lighter? In a lot of ways, it does, and it will feel lighter eventually. But moving on isn't always a clean break, no matter what you're moving from. It's not a switch you flip or a chapter you just neatly close. There's all kinds of logistics, mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. Sometimes the hardest part doesn't come before the decision. It comes after you've taken the leap, after the goodbye, after the moment everybody assumes you should still feel free. But instead, you feel heavy. And this is where we've been sold another myth, that in order to move on, we have to hit rock bottom first. That a full-on breakdown has to happen before the breakthrough. But I don't see it that way. I do not agree. Because breakdowns, yeah, they can lead to breakthroughs sometimes, but they are two different things and definitely not interchangeable in this particular case. Breakdowns, they hurt. They're disorienting, and they often happen when we've stayed too long in something that no longer fits or just plain unhealthy. And breakthroughs, well, that's the clarity that rises after the unraveling, not because of it. And moving on can sometimes require both the unraveling and the rebooting. But that doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're in a transition. And that's not the same thing as failure. And I know all about this because I walked this road many times. I thought it would feel free and clearer once I finally let go. I had done the soul work. I had said the thing that needed to be said. I had made the move that had been sitting in my gut for months or years in some cases. And yet, even after all of that, I didn't feel as free as I thought I would. I didn't feel certain as much as I'd hoped. I didn't even feel proud of some of the things I should have been proud of, at least not right away. What I did feel was tired, emotionally worn out, like I had just finished climbing out of something, but had no idea what I was standing in now. You see, I used to believe that once you told the truth, once you did the thing you were being pulled toward, everything would just fall into place. That your energy would magically and immediately lift. And sometimes the energy did lift, but not all the time the way I had imagined it. Again, the logistics I mentioned earlier, lots of layers to deal with, and trust me, even with the positive shifts, don't expect instant fix all at once. For me, the peace didn't show up in most cases in that first moment for most things, like leaving a very stressful, burdensome, tiring, or toxic situation. That might feel more obvious. But the rest, it came later, in pieces, little signs, quiet confirmations, moments where I literally felt at peace, felt like, you know what? Everything is going to be all right. And there were times where I caught myself smiling or laughing out loud, like I heard the funniest joke after reflecting how I made it through. I mean, literally, I was thinking like, how in the world did you do that? But you did it. You did that. Or sometimes simply feeling like I could breathe a little deeper, more calmly, despite any chaos around me. But the clarity didn't lead the decision, it followed it. And back to those so called truths we often hear people say when you're trying to move on. Most of them sound good. There were times I said them to myself. But in real life, at ground zero, when you are going through the experience, they don't hold up. What's skipped over and not talked about is the part where you doubt yourself. Sometimes to the point of self-sabotage. And I know some of you listening know exactly what I'm talking about. Where you look around and you wonder if you made a mistake. Like really questioning, was that a good move to make? Where you start missing what you know wasn't good for you just because it was familiar. Or you don't want to be alone, or whatever fear or discomfort that's speaking within you. Where you grieve, and I mean really grieve, even after choosing something so much better. But that's the real stuff. What I just said, that's the real stuff that happens. And it's also what movement looks and feels like for so many people. Because real movement isn't always loud. It doesn't always come with fireworks, closure, or a big announcement. Sometimes it looks like waking up and not doubting yourself, or letting the phone ring and not feeling guilty for not answering, or simply saying no and not needing to explain why. Other times, it can certainly feel like a mess. Oh, yes, because you're still thinking about what you left. You still feel the pull of who you used to be. And you might even question if you're doing any of this right. But here's the truth. Real movement doesn't mean you're instantly over it. It means you're not letting it define you anymore. You can still carry the memory without carrying the identity associated with it. And you can still feel the grief and know you're still growing. And that, my friends, is what real forward movement looks like. It's not perfect, but it's honest. So let me ask you this. What have you been telling yourself about what it means to move on? Whose voice is shaping that story? Is it yours or somebody else? Have you been measuring your progress by how little you feel instead of how much you're becoming? It's easy to think you're doing it wrong just because you still feel something. But feeling doesn't mean failure. It means you're still alive in the process. You're human and you're wired for feeling and so much more. So instead of asking, why am I not over this? Try asking, what part of me is finally coming into the light? If you take one thing with you from this episode, let it be this. Real healing, real movement isn't linear. It loops, it spirals, and it deepens as you grow. Some days, it'll feel like momentum, and other days, like you're standing still. But neither means you're doing it wrong. Here's a reminder, and I want you to really carry this forward. You don't have to be over it to move forward, but you do have to stop letting whatever happened continue to shape who you are. This isn't just about moving on, it's about moving differently. And if it still hurts sometimes, it means you're still feeling that something real happened, and you still get to choose what happens next. And that's the part I want you to remember. You are not stuck, but you are still becoming. Thank you for listening to Rooted Realities. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and leave a review. It really helps others find the show. Your support is greatly appreciated. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook for more updates and new content. Until next time, stay rooted and keep growing.